And I'm even more thrilled to be here with my colleague from Prince George's County, Councilmember Monique Anderson-Walker. Let's give Councilmember Anderson-Walker a big round of applause. And then I'll introduce a few of our other officials and then tell you why we're all here. I don't know if this is working or not. While we're here today, I want to acknowledge our Deputy Fire Chief, Mark Wynn, from the District of Columbia, Department of Fire Emergency Management Services, our 4th District Commander, Commander Randy Griffin from the 4th District, Captain Brian Christian from the Metropolitan Police Department, 4th District, Linda Bailey, she's the director of our Vision Zero program at the District Department of Transportation, and our colleague from Prince George's County, Fire Chief Ben Barksdale. Let's give Fire Chief Barksdale a big round of applause. And I'm really delighted to be here with Councilmember Anderson-Walker this afternoon to talk to you all about driving it home. And I know that the council member has a presentation that she will go through, and then I think we're going to take some questions. But Councilmember Anderson-Walker kicked off an initiative to support young people like yourselves in her district, District 8 in Prince George's County, which is our neighboring county in Maryland, to bring awareness to safe driving for young people. Now, I think we're looking at 11th and 12th graders, right? So many of you are probably drivers or new drivers or learning to drive. And we all know how important it is that you do so safely and conscientiously. And so I want to now introduce Councilmember Anderson-Walker. Oh, we're going to have a video first. So we're going to turn our attention to a video.
Many of you know the horrendous accidents on 210 in past years. December 30th, 2018, 3 children killed on impact, parents severely injured. This has to stop. Hi, I'm County Councilwoman Monique Anderson-Walker, and we need you to join our Driving at Home campaign.
All right, let's go get in our seat.
Okay, Dad.
To change the driving culture and stress the importance of safe and responsible driving. We must keep these things in mind. Always wear a seatbelt. No texting while driving. Passengers, do not distract the driver, and never drink and drive.
Is there anybody in it?
Stop speeding and avoid aggressive driving. Your safety, our safety. We are driving it home.
All right, let's give it a big round of applause. And I'm going to introduce Councilmember Anderson-Walker, but I'm just thrilled to partner with the council member to kick off her Driving Home initiative in the District of Columbia. As you all know, we are in a region, Maryland, DC, and Virginia, and it's very important that the leadership in this jurisdiction collaborate on making sure that our young people start good, solid driving habits at a young age. And when you start driving, right? Like no texting, no eating, paying attention, no reading, you know, those types of things when you're driving, right? 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 Uh-oh, I'm glad we have this presentation, but I want to take a minute to introduce my friend, Councilmember Anderson-Walker, who is the first African-American woman elected to Prince George's County's District 8. Yes, let's give her a big round of applause. She is committed to promoting, preserving, and protecting her community and has made strides through her leadership with the Prince George's County chapter of the Links Incorporated, the Community Foundation in Prince George's County, and St. Anne's Center for Youth, Families, and Children. She lends her time and talent to improving the quality of life for women, students, and seniors and veterans. She holds a MS degree in real estate development from Johns Hopkins University, a MA in political science from Howard University, and a BA in international studies from Emory University. Let's give a big round of applause for Councilmember Monique Anderson-Walker.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, good afternoon, Washington Latin Public Charter School. How are you? And let's give a shout out to class of 2019. Congratulations. I was able to get a tour today. I was very excited to get a tour today from Shelby Griffiths, who gave a phenomenal tour. Stand up, Shelby, so we can see you. She's a great example of what's being produced out of this wonderful school. And that's one of the reasons I'm here. My name is Monique Anderson-Walker. I am a county council person, not from DC, but from Prince George's County. The reason I'm here is because there's so much connection between Washington, DC, Maryland, Virginia. That's why we're called the DMV. So I am blessed to be able to partner with your city council member, Brandon Todd, and with your fire and EMS and police, and with Linda Bailey with DDOT, because Vision Zero, if you don't know about it, you're going to hear a little bit about it. Vision Zero is about making sure that pedestrians are always safe, people on the roads are safe, bicyclists are safe. Part of that is changing the culture of driving. Do you know what I mean when I say changing the culture of driving? Kind of, sort of, maybe? I'll try to explain it. Behavior is when you know there's a speed camera and you get a little bit past it, out of range, and then you speed up again. That's just changing your behavior temporarily. When you're changing your culture, you're changing what you believe is necessary. So I want you all to start this process, because every great movement that started in this country has started with students. Every great movement. Whether it's Parkdale High School students saying, we don't want guns anymore, we're going to come up and march on DC. Whether it's children telling their parents, recycle, whatever the case might be. So I need you, we need you for this. The first step is follow just simple instructions. Wear your seatbelt. How many in here, when they get in their car, put on your seatbelts? Excellent. Whether you're a driver or not, put on your seatbelt. We had an incident in Prince George's County not even a month and a half ago where 5 students left campus at noon. 5 students left campus at noon, none of whom were wearing their seatbelts. Their car got flipped over. 3 of the students were ejected. The only reason the other 2 weren't ejected is because they were sitting in the front and the airbags enveloped them, kept them in there. Even they were hurt. 2 weeks later, when we were invited to speak at that high school, 2 of the students were still in intensive care. And they are having, their life moving forward will never be the same. They have had life-altering effects because of that. Perhaps wearing the seatbelt could have stopped that from happening. Couldn't have stopped the accident, perhaps, but at least the affect of the accident wouldn't have been so great. So whatever you do, when you get in the car, put on the seatbelt. Texting and driving, I think we're all guilty. We hear our phones ping and we just want to see who's looking at a picture or who's trying to get in touch with me. I know we're all guilty. But keep this in mind. The time it takes you to look away from the road and onto a phone is distracting. And that presents another opportunity for an accident. Speaking of driver distractions, studies have shown that 16 and 17-year-olds' chances of fatal car accidents increases with every additional person in the car. Which means that if you're 16 or 17 and you have a buddy in the car, that increases the possibility of an accident. You know why? Because what? There you go, distractions. And if you have people in the back seat, potentially that's even more distraction. So everyone in the car has a role to play. Whether you're driving, you're in the passenger seat, you're in the back seat. If you're in the passenger seat, your job really is to be like the driver. You're the co-pilot, so you keep your eyes out too. You shouldn't be texting necessarily when you're in the passenger seat. You've got to be aware because you might see something the driver doesn't see and you need to alert them. If you're in the back seat, that's also your role. But the bigger part of being in the back seat is don't distract the driver, because if the driver has to turn around, and mothers have this issue many times with their children in the back, because they have to discipline in the back seat. I'm sure you all have experienced that, right? Didn't I tell you to? So the back seat, people in the back seat really have to be focused as well. Another issue we see on the roads today is people falling asleep. Your schedules are insane. I know you all who are juniors and seniors probably up late studying for AP exams that are going on this week, right? There's a lot. Sports, after-school activities, you all are very talented, so you're all over the place. And that presents opportunities, too, for just being overtired when you're driving. If you have somebody in the car with you, they need to stay awake, to keep you awake. All right, so we're on to the next, which is driving impaired. How many people in this room have driven under the influence? Well, listen, I'm glad you're playing, but the truth is, many of us will not admit that we've driven under the influence, whether it's something we've had to drink, whether it's something we've smoked, whether it's some pills we've taken. You know, pain pills count. So these are all things you need to pay attention to as well. Don't drive under the influence. Too much can happen in a short period of time, and you don't want to be on either end of that accident. In my family, my father, who is 77 years old, when he was 4 years old, was in a car accident with his whole family. He's the youngest of 7. He's a twin. In that car accident, his father, back then they didn't wear seatbelts. Seatbelts weren't part of cars. I didn't realize that was important. But his father was severely injured, and a month later his father passed away because of the car accident. A drunk driver hit them. My father is 77 years old today, and if you bring that up to him or any of his siblings, the oldest of which is 89, they will be so emotional and break down in tears 70-something years later. So I'm saying this to say, don't think that your lack of thinking through something won't have a long-lasting impact on someone's life. Could be your life, but it could be somebody else's life, and you don't want to have to live with either one of those, right? So pay attention to that. The last two are pretty easy. Highway speed. Who speeds? We're all guilty. We're all guilty. But part of this changing the culture is recognizing where we need to change it, right? So it's just recognizing that you're speeding. And aggressive driving, those two kind of go together. And much of the time it's because of lack of managing your time. When you leave your house and you know you have to be somewhere in 15 minutes and that place is 30 minutes away, you think you can catch up by being aggressive, weaving, and driving fast? Maybe. Maybe that's worked for you in the past. Don't make that a habit. Just change your culture with regard to how you even approach getting places. I'm telling you this because we love you. We love you. We wouldn't be here speaking about this if we didn't think this was an issue that is growing to epidemic proportions on our roadways here. And we want you to be safe when you go to prom in 2 nights, right? Prom is in 2 days? And then graduation is, yeah. And we want you to be here and enjoy all of that. But we want you to know what you need to look out for, because maybe other people aren't looking out for it. And what you hear today, pass on to others so they can pick up on these 6 things that we discussed. This is a blessing. I want you to, before we move on, I want to have our fire EMS chief, Ben Barksdale, come and say a little bit about what he sees in accidents so you can understand and truly get a picture of what the impacts are of maybe not following some of these things.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you. So again, congratulations to class of 2019, and we're here because we want you to be successful. We want you to graduate and become, reach your full potential in whatever you choose to do in life, and also congratulations to the rising juniors that will be seniors next year. So, yes, the decisions that you make can have long-lasting effects, not only on you or the people that you affect, but also on us as firefighter, EMTs, and paramedics. Firefighter, EMTs, and paramedics are very well trained in this region and love doing their job, and we love meeting the challenges of responding to calls and saving lives. But when we arrive on the scene and we find young people like yourself that have been ejected from a vehicle or have hit someone on a bicycle or run over a child because you weren't paying attention or you weren't wearing a seatbelt or you were drinking or high, those have long-lasting effects on us, and they do take a mental toll. Now, while we have systems in process that helps us deal with those types of issues, I'd rather not, as a fire chief, expose our responders to those types of incidents if we can prevent them. So just keep that in mind. Recently we had a young family of 5, all 5 children thrown from the van and killed right there. And right now, the EMTs and firefighters that are responding to that are having a hard time dealing with that. Because, again, our job is to save lives, but yet we get there and there's nothing that we can do. And we begin to doubt and begin to lose our confidence. So, again, please pay attention out there. Wear your seatbelts. Don't be distracted. Don't drink and drive. Don't be high on marijuana, and be safe. And let me give you a couple visuals here. Distracted driving and speeding at the same time, okay? So let's say you're going 60 miles an hour. At 60 miles an hour, something comes in front of you. How far is that car going to travel before it stops? Any guesses? 60 miles an hour. Almost 70 yards. That's longer than this gym. So think about that. You're driving, you're distracted, you look up, you see something. Anything that's between these two walls doesn't stand a chance. You're going to travel about 40 feet before your foot even touches the brake. So just think about that. Seatbelts. I'm glad to see that just about everybody raised their hand when you were asked, do you wear your seatbelt? Seatbelts do save lives. Those 5 kids that were, 3 kids that were ejected at Duval High School, they didn't do anything wrong. They were pulling out of campus, yet someone wasn't paying attention and hit them. Car spun around, upside down, out they go, okay? If the vehicle is traveling at 50 miles an hour, how fast is your body going that's sitting in that vehicle? 50 miles an hour, right? So if that car comes to a sudden stop, do you think that you can physically stop your body that's going 50 miles an hour by either putting your hands out or stopping you from going out a window or out the door? It's not going to happen. The seat belts will keep you in place. All right? Well, thank you for your attention. Again, for the seniors, good luck to you, and stay safe.
Thank you. Telling your friends and colleagues about some of the initiatives that you've learned about today, we want you to use your hashtag. Everybody like hashtags, right? It's 2019, so we're going to use the hashtag driving it home. Who's with me? Driving it home. Hashtag driving it home. Now, I have a quick question. What percentage of young people your age do you think have been in a car with someone who was driving aggressively and they didn't do anything about it? Part B to that question, have any of you ever been in a car with someone who was driving aggressively or breaking the rules and you did nothing about it? Who knows what the percentage of young people is? Not quite that high. 44%. That's exactly right. Give them a round of applause. So guess what? We don't want to be a part of that 44%, right? Washington Latin, we're committing today that we're not going to be part of that 44%. Are you with us? Uh-oh, I don't hear everybody over here. Are you all with us? Uh-oh, that's still not good enough. Are you with us? Now that sounds like a commitment. And so I'm going to ask Commander Randy Griffin from the 4th District in the Metropolitan Police Department just join us really quickly and talk about if you do break some of the rules of the road, what will happen. And then we're just going to ask our Deputy Fire Chief to say hello. And then we'll ask Linda Bailey from Vision Zero with the Department of Transportation. Let's give them a round of applause.
Class of 2019, let me hear you. Congratulations, congratulations. You're really, really close. There's a saying that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and you guys are really, really close. So congratulations on the upcoming prom and graduation. Anybody know where Archbishop Carroll High School is? That's the high school I graduated from. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was a basketball player. When I was a sophomore in high school, I had a buddy. He was a freshman. He was a point guard. He was tall, he was strong, he was fast. He was a truth when it came to basketball. Guaranteed D1 scholarship his junior year. He was the passenger in a vehicle his freshman year that was involved in an accident. He didn't have his seatbelt on. He was ejected from the vehicle. When he woke up, he was in the emergency, wasn't in the emergency room, he was in the operating room, and the surgeons were working on him. And to this day, he's still paralyzed. That future that he had, whether it be in sports or academically matriculating through college, was over because he didn't put his seatbelt on. It's a really, really big deal, guys. If you're driving, if you're a passenger, front seat, back seat, please put your seatbelt on, okay? It's a really, really big deal, all right? So who can tell me what happens when someone from my team pulls you guys over and you're speeding? What happens? All right, I heard ticket, you get a ticket, okay. Speeding ticket, anybody else? Well, you're getting pulled over because you're speeding, so. But what happens when we determine that you've been speeding and we stop you? Tickets, everybody saying tickets? Okay, so did you guys know in the District of Columbia, we have something called 30 and over, which means if you're going 30 miles above the speed limit, you get arrested, you go to jail. I know, it's scary, right? And it's really easy to go 30 miles per hour, especially in a 25 mile per hour zone, all right? So, guys, please, 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 pretty please, with sugar on top, don't speed. It's for your safety. My guys don't get any joy out of writing tickets. They do it because they have to, but it's also a really big deal. And the very last thing I'm going to say, just based on what I've seen and I continue to see as the commander of the district, it's a little out of the box in regards to traffic safety, but we've had incidents in the 4th District and throughout this city where reckless driving has led to road rage incidents. We've had situations where someone in a neighborhood littered, threw a McDonald's cup out of the car, and someone trailing them because it was their neighborhood took offense and started a verbal dialogue with them. That verbal dialogue turned violent. That violence turned into gunshot victims, all right? So in addition to traffic safety in regards to seatbelts and speeding, folks, please keep your cool. If there's ever a situation where someone cuts you off, let them cut you off. You'll still get where you need to go. It may be a few seconds later, but you'll still get there. Avoid getting into any confrontation. There's some crazy people in this city, and you never know which crazy person you're going to run into, all right? If you guys have a situation where someone does something stupid, let them do something stupid. If someone tries to bait you into an argument or a confrontation, don't get baited into the confrontation. Don't stop your car, don't get out the car, just keep going where you were going, all right? Because we have had people, folks your age, who have lost their lives from interactions from road rage. You guys with me? All right, folks. Again, congratulations.
Good morning. Afternoon, that's right, thank you. Congratulations, class of 2019. My name is Mark Wynn. I'm a Deputy Fire Chief with DC Fire and EMS. I've been here about 32 years. And when I started my career, I was just a little older than you guys. I graduated from Coolidge High School, right up the road. And I wanted to actually save lives. So the council member talked about a couple of things, aggressive driving and speeding. And I want to touch on wearing your seatbelt and driving while you're tired via a story, because it's prom time. So you guys may be going out and enjoying your time with your friends. So I think it was 1991, I had been in the department a couple of years at the time. I think I was like 22 years old. And I had a young family. I got married when I was 19, and that's very young, right? And I had 3 kids. And my wife and I got married when we was in 12th grade. And so I was this responsible young man, and I had been out the night before with my friends, having a good time, trying to enjoy myself. And the next morning, it was time to take my child to his doctor's appointment at Kaiser Permanente. So, of course, I was tired, but I went on down the road. I was responsible, and I took him to Kaiser Permanente. It was my wife, my son, and a friend of mine. So we leave North Capitol Street, and we're coming back up 13th Street, and I'm going on home. And the next thing I did was wake up, and I hit a tree. Now, I don't know if it was because I was sleepy. I don't know but the bottom line is I was out the night before, and I hadn't had enough sleep. So when you're sleepy, things happen. So we hit that tree. I had my seatbelt on, right? My wife, back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember this, they used to have these seatbelts that came across your chest, but you had to manually put on the one across your waist. So my wife, she's a small woman, so she slipped out of the seatbelt and went under the dashboard. So that's the first thing I saw. My son was in a car seat, and he was restrained. But what happened to me was my buddy in the back of the car didn't have a seatbelt on. So you remember that the chief told you that at 60 miles per hour, your body travels at 60 miles per hour. So he flew over me, hit the windshield, landed on me, and my ribs went into my liver, right? So fast forward a little bit, right? So I started thinking, how am I going to get my wife out? But I knew if I moved, I was probably going to bleed out. So I got to the hospital, and they gave me a 50-50 chance on living. So think about this, right? You get to the hospital, and your parents are looking at you, and the doctors are telling you that your child only has a 50-50 chance of living. Or better yet, you were that buddy in the back seat that didn't have your seatbelt on because you didn't think you needed it because you weren't driving, but you halfway killed someone. So I was off for a year. My wife broke her neck. They thought she was going to be in one of those restraints. Because in an accident, you do not have to die. It could just be life-altering, right? You've been in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. You can't communicate. You can't do the things that you guys are looking forward to doing. So during this season, make sure that you stay safe, wear your seatbelts, slow down, and just enjoy the rest of your life. But you have to be responsible and think about a vehicle as if it was a loaded gun, because it's really just that dangerous. All right, thank you.
Again, we want to thank you so much. We do have some time, maybe a couple of minutes for maybe about 3 or 4 questions. We want you all to let us know what your thoughts are with regard to how we might be able to implement this safety strategy better. You all have any thought? Yes.
I think that we should have less speed cameras, but do more programs like this, but like take away like the fines and stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Do you think this program is helpful? How has this helped you today?
It opened my eyes, wear a seatbelt more. Sometimes I just don't be thinking, but yeah.
About texting and everything else.
I don't text while I drive.
That's so smart. Good point. Thank you. Anyone else?
Increase the driving age. Age.
That makes it rough on parents. But yeah, increase the driving age. What do you think that's going to help?
I said increase the driving age. Like 20. Yes, it would make a difference because it's like some teenagers have cars and they be thinking they like that person, so it's like they be trying to show off, and you can show off at the wrong time and get into an accident because I've seen it happen plenty of times. So it's like they think they can have a car, they can speed whenever they want to and like stuff like that. So.
Is there any behavior you've had in the past that maybe you'll change now because of what you heard today?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Is there anything that you'll do differently?
Wear seatbelts more because it's like, to be honest, like when I'm in an Uber, I don't put on a seatbelt. So wear seatbelts more. Don't distract like family members or stuff like that in the car just for them to look at something. You like don't distract family members while they're driving because you want them to look at something, even if they're like at a stoplight or something like that. Like just don't do that at all. That's basically it.
You know, both of those points are very helpful. Thank you. All right, I guess you'll be the last one. Or is there anybody else have input? Okay.
So on behalf of my other peers, we would like to disagree with her statement because, first of all, that's what the driving test is for, to teach us how to drive. That's why we take our permit test, the provisionals, to get our full license. So increasing the age isn't going to do anything because adults get into accidents too. But most of the accidents are probably adults because more adults are driving. So by increasing the age, not really going to do anything. That's it.
This definitely doesn't need to be a discussion like at this point, but the #1 cause of death for teenagers in America is like crashing. Most crashes include teenage drivers, but it doesn't matter because the age of driving isn't gonna like change. So
We could change the driving age.
We could, but well, let me tell you for this, as I stated earlier, this is a cultural change, and it's really going to start with you. You know, we've been speaking to high schools. It's going to be you all. So we want you all to help us figure out how to get this message out so we can really change the driving culture. It's not going to be enforcement necessarily where we pull you over, because the truth is you pull over people 3 and 4 times. They don't get it necessarily. It's not until you decide, look, this is important. We need to follow these steps. I saw your hand up. Point.
One thing I kind of thought about after what you said, your experience, that drivers especially need to be, like, just everyone here needs to be wary about the other people in the car. Like you were talking about, if you see someone, like, doing something wrong, like, you need to call them out. Like, if we're at this, like, prom this weekend and, like, we see someone who's drunk, like, don't let them drive. Like, that's our responsibility. Like, if they get in a crash, we're partly responsible because we didn't stop them from doing that. Or like if you see someone in the back without their seatbelt on, like you just gotta say, just don't be dumb. Like put your seatbelt on. So, yeah.
Well, look, I think that's it for us. Just want to say have a wonderful prom, graduation and beyond. Oh, okay. So I think when you all get back to your classrooms, you're going to see a little rundown of the things we just discussed, but you're also going to see a contract in here, which is a pledge that we would like you all to sign if you're drivers or non-drivers. Everybody has a role to play. Yeah, and we do actually have a giveaway also for the back of your phone. You know, we all want to put things, yeah, you need one of these, don't you? Everybody does. As a matter of fact, you know, do we want to have a student maybe come up and read the pledge? Anybody want to read this pledge? Hey, yes, please. Yay!
I attended the Driving It Home Assembly on May 15th, 2019, where I, Chandler Rosard, pledged to be a responsible and safe driver. I know that when I am driving, I am not just responsible for myself, but for others in the car with me and everyone else on the road. I will not speed or be an aggressive driver. I will always wear my seatbelt and ask others in the car with me to buckle up. I will not text while I am driving, and I will never drink and drive. If I am a passenger, I will be respectful of the driver, and I will never distract the driver. Everyone's safety, including my own, will be my priority. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, great. And if you could just remember, hashtag driving at home. I know that's the language you all speak in hashtags, right? Use that and spread the word.
So we're about to dismiss you to have lunch, but the council member has asked for a quick picture with everyone, so we'll do a quick picture, and then I'm going to dismiss you one row at a time. So let's go really, really quickly. One row at a time, one row at a time. Right here.
Hello, I'm Councilmember Monique Anderson-Walker, Prince George's County District 8, and I'm here with County Councilmember Brandon Todd of Ward 4, Washington, D.C. We just wrapped up a wonderful presentation with probably about 200 or so students from Washington Latin Public Charter School, really focusing on changing the culture of driving.
Well, I couldn't be more delighted than to be here with County Council Member Anderson-Walker to kick off her Driving at Home program in the District of Columbia. I want to thank our council member for having this vision and really wanting to take it around the region and not only in Prince George's County, because we know that kids in Maryland and Prince George's County and Washington, D.C. and Virginia all need to practice safe driving habits at a very young age.
Yeah, and we all share the roads, so we definitely want it to be safer out there. So hashtag driving at home, let's change our driving culture.